Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Broder and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Broder and Broder.
Good morning and welcome back. This is Woodward and Main Street, your Lions Insider Show. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, alongside me, Matt Broder and Terry Foster, to kick off your Tuesday the right way. A little Victory Tuesday for Matt. Congratulations.
Great day. It's a great day to be a fan of Michigan football, Detroit Lions football.
Yes.
Have ourselves a weekend, Detroit.
What a great week for the state of Michigan. Not too bad, Terry, huh?
The state of Michigan is the football capital of America right now.
It truly is.
The Lions and the University of Michigan. So this is the spot.
Yeah.
This is it.
This is it.
This is the place
who
to be.
Who else is in this predicament? Nobody, obviously.
I can't imagine anybody, and I don't think, I can't remember a time, at least in my lifetime, where there's been a weekend like this, where both Lions are now in front, or there's a playoff game in front of them.
Yes.
Michigan Wolverines are national champions. It's a lot's gone on in football in this state in the last 2 weeks. One more week coming up.
Brilliant.
Wild.
Brilliant. I'm not going to be sour about it, but I'm very happy for you.
Thank you.
And now we're moving on to Lions football, because the Lions won their final regular season game at Ford Field in a tremendous way. We're going to recap it here today on the show. First off, to check off the list, Terry went on a mission this weekend on Sunday because there is a new Lions beer, and he has a report to give us.
Well, the Lions beer, which doesn't have the Lions logo on it yet, but it's going to. I was talking to him about that. Eastern Market Brewery. It's a lager, and but it's kind of a different lager. You know, it's not. I wouldn't call it heavy, but I would call it a heavy lager. It's not thin and it runs through you in a minute. It creams in your mouth a little bit.
Okay.
So
and where can you find this? This beer?
Eastern Market Brewery, which is in the Eastern Market of all places. So that's where I got it, and they also have it on tap.
Okay.
But I thought it would be weird to bring the keg in here because it doesn't have anything on it.
Yeah, maybe more appropriate for last night.
Yes, for the Michigan celebration. And Broder did not burn any couches.
No, he did not.
Yeah, couches are safe this morning. We good.
Good for you.
We're good. Job finished.
Job finished.
That's what I'm supposed to say, right?
What would you rate this beer out of 10?
Out of 10 for a lager, I would give it a 7.5 to 8.
Okay.
It's pretty solid. When I first took the first test, I'm like, this is just a regular beer, and then that kind of plays on your tongue a little bit, and then it got better.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give it 8.
All right, an 8. Not too bad.
Nope.
Well, you know what? I'm going to have to take a couple points away because there's no Lions logo on there. How do you have a Lions beer without the Lions?
Well, it's brand new, so maybe they need to still get the licensing. I don't know how long that takes.
No, he said that this is like one of the first cans, and the first cans did not have the Lions logo on there. And I think what they did is they cheated a little bit, like you do all the time. They put
shots fired.
They put another of their beers in the Lions can, and they didn't really change the beer.
Okay.
I see an elephant on it. I'm very confused.
Well, the elephant is the mascot of Eastern Market Brewery.
Oh.
Okay. Makes
Not
sense.
so confused anymore. Yep, we're good.
Makes
sense. I think they'll replace the elephant with a lion.
Love that.
And brand new lager, B&L, brand new Lions. It all. They're on their way to something.
Their
this is maybe step
great.
2 of 3. The
you
final
know what
product
they could have
coming
named
out.
it? Same old lager.
Well,
but they decided to call it brand new lager.
There we go. This lager is going to the playoffs. Playoffs
Football here in Detroit. Very exciting. We're going to get plenty into who they'll be playing against, the return of Matt Stafford to Detroit. later in the show. Stick
Don't
around
say
for
it
the
like
last
that.
segment.
This is exciting.
No. It's very exciting, but I don't want anyone to get too carried away in this first segment because we got to save it for the end of the show because we still have to review the last game and review our pessimistic and optimistic. So, Matt, you had said that your pessimistic was that the Vikings have a little to lose and a lot to gain. But did you really see that coming out in their energy on the field on Sunday?
No, well, I saw the Lions really take control of that game early, really shut down any chance that the Vikings were going to roll into Ford Field and surprise them with something new or take advantage of them having a sleeper after the Dallas Cowboys game last week. But no, they came out, they won the toss, elected to receive. Although they didn't get a touchdown, I don't believe, on the first drive. They drove it down the field and then got a defensive stop. It was just a really good start from the Lions, and they were rolling. They were rolling pretty much all day. Never let the Vikings use any of that energy and momentum against themselves. So, hey, cheers to the Lions for doing that.
A wise old man said last week the Lions are going to be amped up, pissed off, whatever you want to call it, because of the call and the fact that they feel that everything isn't complete. Your boy C.J. Gardner-Johnson said there's more to come. Old Lady Ford said there's more to come. Sheila Hamp said there's more to come.
She did join the locker room.
She got the game ball.
She did. And we should give her a game ball then.
She gets the game ball every week for us. For me, I'll speak for myself. She deserves, especially this season, she can have the game ball every week.
Who's Sheila Hamp?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Martha Firestone took the ball from her.
She has that power. But we all know Sheila Hamp. That's who.
She's at the center.
That's who Coach Dan Campbell was handing that ball to. So she wins for sure. But also about that play, it was so funny. If you were in the stadium every time, and I don't know if you could hear it on the broadcast.
Oh man!
Every time, start from the first time. Dan Skipper, number 70, checked in as eligible, and the announcer over the loud screen announced it to the stadium. It erupted. It was laughter. It was cheering. It was boo. It was a bunch of everything. That Lions fans, that Lions crowd at Ford Field was awesome.
Now, where would you rank this crowd and their energy in comparison to other games during the season?
It was high.
Okay.
It was up there in the top tier of home games. I think all due to that Dallas Cowboys game.
Yeah.
I mean, there really wasn't. There was something to play for, which is why we saw the starters play, which we'll get into. But it was amped up, and I sort of expected it to be just a little bit calmer.
Yeah.
But no, it was pretty amped up. It was up there in the top, 3-4 of the 8 home games.
Yeah, I can't wait for the Lions versus everybody shirts to come out.
They got to be printing already, right?
Probably are.
Yeah.
I mean, they have more to play for than just winning the playoff game, than just winning a regular season game. I mean, it's like, they feel they're targeted again. So that's why I think they're going to be amped up, pissed off, and they're going to play really good football in the playoffs. This is a very dangerous team.
Very.
And I know we're going to hear, I'm so worried about the LA Rams. I'm so worried about the Dallas Cowboys. I'm so worried. Relax.
Relax. And you had told everyone to relax before this game because your optimistic was that the Lions are the big boys. And they're going to get out there and kick some butt.
Yeah, put on your big boy shoes.
Yeah.
Instead of just being one of the gang, show that you belong. Show that you're superior. Get rid of a inferior team and don't let them hang around too much, even though that's the NFL. But show that you were the better team and that you're ready to go into the playoffs with some fight, grit, and all the other stuff we talk about.
And you think that they did this?
I think they did.
Okay.
Even though, 10 points is not a lot, it is in the NFL. That's a pretty big, thorough butt kicking.
Especially towards the end of the season with the top 2 NFC North teams, regardless of the Vikings situation and how it's panned out. They've gone pretty upward, and we were still worried about them a little bit going into this game, I think more than people were expecting at the beginning of the season. Yeah,
well, as great as the season's been, a loss against Minnesota there would have made them 3-3 in the conference or the division, which, although there still would have been the NFC North title, there's something a little like one step below. A little hard to accept them being just 500. Now they have a 4-2 record in the North. That should give them a little more boost going into next season. I do believe they control the North now, and it's the other team's jobs now to take it from the Lions, and they're coming.
100%.
They're coming, but
I don't think the North is going to be that easy.
It's not.
I think the Bears are going to come in. They have to decide what they're going to do with Justin Fields and Eberflus. Minnesota is going to be in there. And Green Bay, the youngest team in the NFL, but they might be the most dangerous team in the NFL going to the playoffs.
Yeah, they snuck right in there. And until the last day, Minnesota had a chance to, so they're coming. We don't know what Chicago's going to look like. Their defense is turned around. This could become a competitive division from top to bottom, which was the opposite of what we were saying at the beginning of the year. But after the season finished, I think the strength of schedule came out, and I think the Lions were like number 11, which is higher than many would expect, a harder schedule than many expected before the season started.
For sure. Now, golden question, Matt. Did the Lions play a complete game on Sunday?
I'll give it to them.
Okay. You seem a bit apprehensive.
Just because of a missed extra point. Like that is it's not okay. Coming. That can't happen.
This guy is so reluctant to say they played a complete game.
I am, and this was one of their best special teams games of the year, and I think Dan Campbell said one of their best in the last 3 years. From punt coverage, kick coverage, punt return. Khalif Raymond had a massive game before he came out and really controlling the field possession. This was probably the game. It really was maybe one of the best games they did at controlling the field with Jack Fox and crew. So I will give it to them. They did that. They played really well on defense, especially in the first half. They let Justin Jefferson, they let Nick Mullins put some yardage up, but that defense came up with timely turnovers at the end of the game. And then the offense played great, and they weren't perfect, but they played really well again and came out firing.
So would you say that they played a complete game, Terry?
Yes, I would. I'm tired of hearing about how many yards they gave up to Moon Mullins. Here's what I look at. How many points did you give up? 20.
Yeah.
That's below league average. So I'm an old-fashioned guy. If you give up a few points, I'm good. I don't care if you give up 400 yards passing or whatever, because a lot of it is junk yards. So it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't translate to what happens on the field.
Facts.
Now, would you say that the Lions' kicking game is the weakest point of their football game this season and going into the postseason?
Not the punting part.
Definitely not the punting part.
That is kicking,
No.
technically.
Yeah.
You know what kicking I'm talking about.
I do. I think it's hard because it's a concern. We don't see it very often because Dan Gamble, like he's Mr. Aggressive. He takes chances, but how much of that is because he doesn't have faith in the kicker versus being aggressive? We're really going to learn a lot about him in the playoffs, Dan Campbell, in his first time as a head coach in the playoffs. So we'll see. The defense has been improving. I know they've given up yards, but they're winning games and they are getting better and getting people back. So I'm more optimistic about the defense. Yeah, it's going to be the kicking game.
The kicking could bite them in the ass.
Yeah.
Because now we're talking about one-score games. In the playoffs, we might be talking about 1-point games.
Yes.
And that could, the kicking and that missed extra point could be the difference between winning, losing, going to overtime, or whatever you want to do it.
Fantastic point.
Hopefully some adjustments will be made this week so that the Lions can be confident going into their first home playoff game in a very long time. We'll be back in the second segment to discuss our game ball recipients for the final regular season game of the Lions season. Stick with us and we'll be right back.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back. This is Woodward and Main Street. Thanks so much for tuning in bright and early on this Tuesday morning, where we are recapping the Lions' win against the Vikings for their final regular season game. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, Terry Foster. We are Woodward and Main Street, and we have to get into our game ball selections for the final time of the regular season. I keep saying this, but it is blowing my mind, the fact that the regular season is over.
Week 18
That's
is
it
done.
for so many teams. That is it. That was it for the Lions this time last year. So, we're soaking up this moment. Absolutely loving it. So let's kick things off strong. Matt, your pick, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yes.
Talk about it.
The number one snub of the Pro Bowl across the entire NFL today. He was on a mission, and I felt like they were trying to target him early and often in this game to just really, I mean, there's nothing more to prove, but to just extend his hierarchy over the rest of the NFC. He had another incredible game, 7 receptions, 144 yards, 1 touchdown. That 70-yard score really turned the game. That was the moment where the Lions really started to pull away. He just had another Amon-Ra St. Brown game, being that security blanket for Jared Goff, being that Mr. Reliable. There were several guys in this game who played really well, but to me, Amon-Ra St. Brown, he gets my game ball.
Dude's got the biggest chip on his shoulder in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And it keeps getting bigger. That's why the Lions are a dangerous team in the NFC. They're not just an also-ran. They're a little pissed off. Amon-Ra St. Brown is probably the leader of the pack. He wanted to be in the Pro Bowl. Didn't happen. And he's going to show out.
He will. 199 receptions on the year. Was that 1,515 yards? He was talking.
He didn't have 199.
119.
Oh, I thought you said 199.
119. No, he joined Herman Moore as the only player in franchise history to produce a season with 100 receptions, 1,000 receiving yards, and 10 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But not a Pro Bowler, and a rookie is. Who's coming to town, actually? There's some Rams who snubbed the Lions. There are a couple of them who snubbed some Lions players for their spots.
That is true.
Not the running back position.
It's funny. Is this guy invisible or something?
I don't get it.
People just can't recognize him.
I really don't understand it, to be honest with you. And I know, the people say Pro Bowl vote, and I'll get off the Pro Bowl topic because that is in the past, but he had the fan voting numbers. He was ahead of Puka Nacua. So this means that the coaches and other players voted for Nacua over him. Show some awareness, NFL. I feel like I don't know football when people do stuff like that.
No.
That St. Brown isn't one of the top 5 receivers in the NFL. He should be an all-pro. I do believe he's a top 3 receiver in the NFC. Definitely over Evans and Nacua. And if you look at it side by side, A.J. Brown too.
And he's going full out with the support of the Lions, because last night he has dyed his hair blue thanks to Honolulu Blue, thanks to Figo Salon in Birmingham, which is where all the greatest get their hair done.
Are you going to get your hair dyed blue?
No, I won't be getting my hair dyed blue, but they do fantastic work at Figo.
We used to make fun of blue hairs. When I was a child, the old ladies whose hair was turning gray, they would dye it blue.
Really?
Yeah, so we call them the blue hairs.
Huh.
Yeah.
I have never heard of that before, so that's
Dixon,
interesting.
She dyed her hair blue.
Okay.
I don't know why they did it that way. Is this
helped with the hue of the gray?
Huh?
Helped with the hue of the gray.
I'd rather have the gray than the blue.
Yeah, I think I would agree. But Amon-Ra St. Brown is going with the blue, the Honolulu blue. It is bright blue. It matches the jersey almost perfectly. Yeah. I'm excited. He's all in. I'm
you
totally
know what he might be
for
doing?
this. What?
Maybe he's doing the Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman thought he was ignored and people didn't pay attention to him.
Yeah.
He started dyeing his hair and everything, and all of a sudden he started getting paid. He got noticed. And maybe Amon-Ra is doing the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. There it is. The blue hair.
Yeah, I have no problem. No problem with anybody going blue.
No, of course not.
Any opportunity.
Why did we set him up for that?
Yeah, we really did.
Appreciate you guys.
But I'm going to set you up for your game ball, Terry. And who are you going to be giving it to?
I am going with Aiden Alexander Hutchinson. One of my complaints about Hutchinson is, he had a couple sacks in games, but he made the sacks when everybody else did all the dirty work, and he came in and at the end and mopped up, and then people from outside of Detroit would look and say, Hutchinson had 2 sacks. He must have really impacted the game, which he didn't do. This time he did. Not only did he get 2 sacks early, second game in a row, but he harassed the quarterback. He harassed the running game. Yeah. This was his most complete game of the season, I would say, because he did it when it mattered.
I like that because exactly that we talked about earlier in the season when he had, what game was that, where he just completely closed it out with his sack and I think he had a turnover there at the end or a pick, or I don't know what happened there at the
Falcons? It might have been the Falcons game. Maybe. It was at home. Or the Bears game where you got the turnover and punted it into the end zone.
Yes.
Or
but they
in the
always
stands.
seem to happen when the game was kind of already put away.
Right.
Where this one, it was a difference maker in how that game turned out.
Absolutely.
And the other plays he was making outside of the sacks, it was like 5 quarterback hits. He had 3 tackles for loss. Like he was impacting the game even when he wasn't getting to the quarterback. And the stuff that shows up on the stat sheet, it was just, it's been nice seeing him with a little bit of help with Ali McNeil back, Tyson Alualu. He had some guys making an impact. The safeties, obviously, Iffy and CD Deuce and Brian Branch. Now that he's getting the sack numbers, you're right. People are talking about him now, but he's been having a very good year. This was a good game for him to end the season on.
Great game for him to end the season on, and a great game for Sam Laporta to end the season on, and a nice way for us to tie up our regular season game balls with a bow, because Sam Laporta has made it into almost every single one of the game ball selections. And
is this your 8th straight week putting him in?
I didn't choose him. Did I choose? I didn't choose him last week. Because the Lions lost, so we don't do game balls.
Oh, I'm talking about
week before, we didn't because we said, well, maybe remember what we told the people. Like if we don't put Sam Laporta up there. So he's been off of it for 2 weeks. So I had to make sure he made it for the final one of the regular season.
Right. I think before you harassed poor little Matt over here and made him pick Sam Laporta.
Well, there were many options that you could go with this game. I mean, you had already picked Aiden. You had already picked St. Brown. And I was like, all right, well, now I got a slew to pick from. But I think, considering the circumstances, the amount of records that Sam Laporta has broken in this regular season and, closed it out breaking, I think, 6 more records during this game. I swear to goodness, the Lions PR and social media team probably has a folder like this big with all of the graphics prepared for all the records that Sam Laporta was going to break this season. And then they had to still create some because that's how many he broke. I swear the entire Lions PR Twitter feed was all Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta broke this record. Sam Laporta broke this record. Try to say that 5 times fast.
That's difficult.
But it was such a great game for him for that. But also, he went out with that injury. And immediately when that happened, the talk during the broadcast, online, on social media was all, how are they going to do this without Sam Laporta?
What my Aunt Margot always used to say, one monkey don't stop no show.
Well,
and
in FSU's case,
back in the day, this would devastate the Lions, but the fact that you've got other talent, you've got depth, maybe not at tight end, but you've got other people you can go to. Yeah, it's going to hurt, but it's not going to be devastating.
But for that to be the conversation after the way the season started, was pretty, I mean, it's pretty special to see how much he has progressed and how he's become this star of the Lions so quickly, nearly overnight, after everyone realized, okay, this guy is the real deal.
Yeah, and it's too bad he doesn't have any quarterback who can throw him the ball or get it to him accurately. Or, all these guys setting records on the Lions offense for, 850 plus scrimmage yards and 10 touchdowns for 4 different players. It's too bad he doesn't have anyone who actually gets them the ball, even hand off to them or throw it to them. Or, because you have running backs, you don't need a quarterback to gain yards, but it's weird. You need a quarterback to notice on 3rd down and 10, hey, I'm going to audible and give this to David Montgomery because nobody's expecting it. That's quite the decision.
Matt, if you had to cheat like I do and give out a second game ball, who would you give out your second game ball to?
Give it to Khalif Raymond.
Oh.
No, Khalif, Jared Goff, Jack Fox. Those are my other guys. Jack Campbell played a hell of a game, but Jared Goff did play well. And he had a job. This was a difficult game for Jared Goff, not in the sense that there was anything new. I mean, I think the Vikings blitzed 91% of the plays in this game, which is wild. He was 21 of 30 for 310 yards and a touchdown. That's that. But to have the task of going and trying to hit some of the players around him, and we saw at the end Josh Reynolds reach a milestone. These Week 18 games, there's some significant contract incentives or milestones for players to hit, statistical milestones, and we know Jared Goff was looking for those players in those moments, whether it was St. Brown proving he should be on the Pro Bowl, Josh Reynolds trying to get 600 yards and 6 touchdowns on the year. He's 1 touchdown short, but that effort to get him the ball at the end of the game, not to run it up on the Vikings, but to get him over that, he needed more than 39 yards on the game to get a $250,000 bonus. That's not normal football for a quarterback, but he's got that awareness. Dan Campbell has that awareness, and they were able to hit some of those with multiple guys on the day. So props to Jared Goff. Let's go.
Are they going to cut Jared Goff after the season?
No.
Okay.
They got him signed for another year.
I know, but all the talk you heard around town, the noodle arm, he's not good, he can't carry them. Yep. You can't carry in the playoffs. We've heard everything. And maybe that's why I think this team is going to really play with anger. Because even in your hometown, a lot of people don't believe in this guy.
Yeah.
That's the difficult part. 12 and 5. I get it. And it just doesn't need to turn into a Jared Goff defense segment, but he deserves some props this season. I know he didn't make the Pro Bowl. He's not even the first alternate, but I think he was snubbed. He had a better season than Stafford, and there are a lot of people who want to argue that. No.
Well, we're going to argue it in the last segment of the show, but stick around because the third segment's going to be good as well, getting into more game notes and what is next on the agenda for the Detroit Lions. So stick with us. This is Woodward at Main Street.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Broder and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Broder and Broder.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back. This is Woodward and Main Street, your Lions Insider Show here on Woodward Sports Network, brought to you by Les Stanford. Thank you so much, Les Stanford, for making this show possible, and thank you for JB and Kool-Aid also making this show possible in the booths, getting us right this morning as we start this morning off bright and early, especially bright and early for anyone who was up watching the Michigan game last night. So I'm giving all your flowers to you today, okay?
Thank you. Kool-Aid was here with me. Brandon Dent, he was here. We were all here. I left before them around, 11:30, 12 o'clock last night. Kool-Aid was still doing Kool-Aid things, being Kool-Aid, the man.
I'm back here this morning to kick off
I'm just glad they
Lions
put the studio back together.
We got
that
you.
it wasn't falling apart at the seams.
No,
right?
that always doesn't happen. When these guys celebrate around here, there's like bras and stuff on the chandeliers. There's underwear. There's all kinds of stuff that happen around here that we shouldn't talk about, but we do.
This is a good case study. That's a good case study.
And I just want to let everybody know that I'm not in attendance for these celebrations.
No, I'll let you know. It's all put together.
Yeah, you need to come to the next one then.
No, I think I'm good. I think I'm going to sit this one out.
I mean,
if that's the track record, I'm sitting them out.
Michigan fans, it's no coincidence that it was the Michigan crowd in here that managed to put the studio back together for Woodward and Main, or the Morning Woodward Show.
There you have it.
Just saying, we did not have the signs ahead of time.
And I'm just saying that it's time to get into what's next for the Lions.
Let's go.
So, kicking things off with quite the heavy-hitting question. If the Lions, don't get mad at me for this, but I just have to ask. If the Lions lose in the first round, do you consider this season a failure?
Yes, it is a failure. The whole being of this season was to win the division and win at least one playoff game. Mission not accomplished. It's a very fine season and everything, but if they lose in the first round of the playoffs, hate to say it, but you can start saying same old Lions again.
No.
They've made the playoffs before, but they can't win a playoff game. Come on.
When was the last time they won the NFC North, though? Or the NFC Central?
It was they've never won the North, but it was 94, 93.
Right.
But what happened? They lost in the playoffs first round. Failure.
See, I think that it would be one half step below failure. Not a failure, but a massive disappointment.
Yeah, I was going to go with that, the parent term. I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed.
Yes.
Now, your boys, I refuse to say it, CD Deuce. Here's what I want you to do. After if they lose to the Rams, I want you to listen to his quotes. He'll call it a failure. That's your boy there.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
He will call it a failure of a season.
I think since the Milwaukee Bucks center future Hall of Famer Giannis Antetokounmpo gave his view of what a season, what failure means to him, people have started opening their eyes, like, especially professional athletes. They view it in a little different way. Everybody views it a little bit different. I do have a feeling you're right that he would be someone who'd say it's Super Bowl or bust, that kind of thing. I'm willing for the city of Detroit. And don't get me wrong, it would be a huge disappointment being the 3 seed and losing that first home game at Ford Field. But I didn't know what it would feel like to win the NFC North, to win the division title, and have the year that they're having. It's hard for me to say that this year would be a failure. It's been such a great year.
It's been a cute year. If they lose in the first round of the playoffs, it's a cute year.
I'll accept that. Yeah.
Cute.
But then it's a failure if they lose the first round.
There you have it.
You got to do something that you haven't done in many years. Yes, they've won the division, but what would you rather do? Win the division or win playoff games?
Playoff games.
Bam.
100%. And it's very hard for me to say this because I am normally you got to. It's not enough just to accept a division title and the same stuff happens, but something just feels different about this season, and that's what's holding me back from calling it a failure. But I get it. I'm not really arguing.
Okay.
So
you're just babbling.
I have another question because we had called out, mostly Terry had called out Matt for his opinion that may or may not have happened, saying that you need to sit your starters for this final game of the season. Well, one of those starters being Sam Laporta, who went out with an injury on his knee during that game, and now Dan Campbell has said there is an outside chance, which I had to confer with everyone and see what technically that meant, an outside chance that he will be playing in the first playoff game. So with Laporta getting injured, do you regret the Lions? If you could regret for Dan Campbell, do you regret the Lions playing their starters?
No. You got, and putting on your big boy pants not only means winning, but putting on your big boy pants means you've got to have your eye on the prize. The number 2 seed was still there.
Yes.
The chances of getting it weren't great. But you've got to bust down the door, tear up the kitchen until you get kicked out.
Okay.
And I'm glad they did that. And sometimes it's going to be collateral damage.
I couldn't agree more. This was just a tough side effect of playing your brand of football. This is the mentality that the Lions have built, have transformed this entire organization. As long as there's a sliver of chance that you can improve your chances in the playoffs, get a better seed, they were going for it all day. And I also think that they're veterans enough. Some of the guys that we think that should have gotten rest would have either spoken up saying, Coach Campbell, like I could use this week. I could, if that would happen, I believe, and I'm thinking of the offensive line. Like if any of those guys needed the day of Frank Ragnow, none of them sat out, and Dan Campbell had to make his own decision to sit John Kaminsky on the defensive line just for all the wear and tear he's put on his body, just doing everything in the trenches this year. So
no doubt.
I don't regret it. The unfortunate side effect is probably one of your top 3. Your second top pass catcher. I was about to say one of your top 3 offensive players. There's some guys on that offensive line who probably are a little more important than Laporta, but in terms of his relationship with Goff and what he brings to this offense, both from a pass catching and an extension of that offensive line, his blocking ability, not having him out there and not having him out there 100% is a big loss. I believe they can weather it for a game, but you need a guy like Sam Laporta if you're going to really make a run through the NFC en route to the Super Bowl.
And the chat overwhelmingly agrees that there are no regrets with this decision. I mean, Terry is 100% correct on this. Lions going, we're going to skip that one. Lions going 1 and done. That was not a comment I was looking for. But
that's old Lions.
Laporta would have played anyway. I 100% agree. Biting kneecaps requires the team to play every week. So we're seeing in the chat, everyone seems to agree that this was the right move to make. There was still so much on the line for this game that could have gone their way if other chips fell the way that they did, but they did everything that was in their control.
Right. If there's nothing on the line, I'd sit everybody.
Everybody. Yeah. Which is what, and this is the unfortunate, I'll take the Lions side of it. The unfortunate side effect of that missed call, not just in terms of the Lions seeding, but what that allowed to do, and the rest of the NFL should be upset. Yeah. That allowed the 49ers to sit some of their starters, Trent Richardson, Christian McCaffrey. They've been banged up throughout this season, so a guy like that, they get 2 weeks off now to get healthy. They're veterans, so you don't really worry about the rhythm of their offense coming back. Now they're healthy going into a playoff run. That's concerning. That should be concerning for people, but that is in the past. They played their players. They played a really Detroit Lions football game, and it was exciting. I think they have good energy going into the playoffs.
Great energy.
Now, gang, I want you to close your eyes for a second.
Oh, okay.
I want you to go into your Zen moment. Think about how close the Lions were to being the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Terry. Obviously, the 49ers would have played their starters if the Lions won that Cowboys game, but hypothetically, if they win that game, at this moment, they have the best record in the NFC and the number 1
seed. But then you force other teams to play to the finish.
Right. And that should not be under noticed.
No.
Right.
Not at all. That's a big thing.
And what should not be under notice is that there are still 10 minutes left of this show, and we are going to cover the Rams coming to town. What everyone is talking about. Everyone's talking about it, so we're going to talk about it here on Woodward and Main Street. Stick with us, and we'll be back in the next segment.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot off the press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Good morning and welcome back. This is Woodward and Main Street here on the Woodward Sports Network. We are your Lions Insider Show. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, Terry Foster, kicking off your Victory Tuesday for the state of Michigan. The Lions, the Wolverines, a great place to be in the United States, the great state of Michigan. We are getting into what is the word on everyone's lips, aside from the game that happened last night, is the narrative that is coming to Detroit with the Lions' previous quarterback, Matt Stafford, returning to his old stomping grounds for the Lions' first home playoff game in a long time. And the Lions' first time fighting with the title of NFC champion, NFC North champion. So we have to get into this narrative. And the first thing I want to kick off with, because we had briefly talked about it during the break, and I don't know if everyone's fully aware of Kelly Stafford's initial reaction to this game happening. So
I didn't see it. I bet it was wild.
She is overwhelmed with emotion, which you can see on her Instagram. I believe her stories are still up. She was kind of taking a trip down memory lane with all the photos of her and Matt Stafford and their children at Ford Field, and then reposted his retirement video, his 8-minute long retirement video she reposted. But on Channel 4 News, her partner in crime that has a podcast with her, he is a member of the Channel 4 News staff here in Detroit, and he had the chance to speak with her right after the news came that they would be playing the Lions, and she was very emotional, sobbing on the phone, could not believe that this was happening, and even said, like, I just can't believe that we're going back to this place that I grew up in, that now we're on the other side. We are on the other side of these, in the enemy territory.
Yeah.
And it sounded like she was so disappointed to be doing that. And they had a very great relationship with the Ford family, with the entire franchise. And he left on a pretty positive note, especially when you're looking at Tyreek Hill going back to play the Chiefs. I think this is a much more positive story in terms of somebody leaving their team. So it's gonna be interesting to see them coming back and how the Ford family handles it, how they handle it, and if they will be back in their suite, like she had said a couple of weeks ago that they wanted to be back in.
You know, Kelly Stafford wants Matthew to come back to Detroit and play for the Lions.
Sorry, man. He had his chance.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, here's the other thing.
3 of them.
I'll ask you this question.
12 of them.
You know, there's still some love between the Lions, the Fords, and the Staffords. Mm-hmm. Would you do something for Matt on the scoreboard or acknowledge him before the game?
No.
I wouldn't.
I don't think so.
No. And this is the benefit of the schedule being released, or at least the opponents for 2024 season being released. The Rams are coming back to Ford Field next year.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do something, make it
then.
Regular season game, give him his time on the scoreboard. But this is a playoff game in Ford Field. There should be no supporting the enemy.
I wouldn't even do it then. When he retires, maybe.
Okay.
Give him a little tribute up there and say, here's what he did for the Lions. But right now, he's the enemy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, he's coming in to kick your ass. So forget all the sentimental stuff and everything. Your job is to make him walk out of Ford Field with his head down.
Yeah. And a lot of people love Stafford when he's here. I was a big Stafford fan, and I like him, but you're right, he's the enemy now. And we got to remember, although it ended relatively well, he did ask for a trade. Like, he asked to be out, which is an admitting, hey, if we're going to go through another rebuild, another coaching change, like, I'm not the guy to lead you there. I need to move on, and that's okay. It's worked out for the best of both teams, but coming back, this doesn't need to be all about Stafford. This is about the Lions beating the Rams. And if you need any more chip on your shoulder too, there are several Lions players, Lions staff, including quarterback Jared Goff, wide receiver Josh Reynolds, Brad Holmes, but Jared Goff too, getting McVay in the playoffs, getting the Rams in the playoffs, the team that gave up on him. He didn't ask for a trade out of LA, so he's got as much motivation as anybody in this game to knock them out of the playoffs.
And that's who we should be focusing on, is Jared Goff, who has the potential to lead the Lions to victory this coming Sunday, and what this game means for him, because he's going to be facing Goff against the team, facing Goff.
I see what you did there.
Facing Goff against the team that shipped him out overnight. This has to mean something more, that he's going to be playing them. And do you think that this is the kind of thing that the Lions will rally around, helping him get a victory over the team that snubbed him?
Yes, I think this game means more to Jared Goff than it does to Matthew Stafford. Stafford's got a chip. He's got a championship ring. Jared Goff doesn't have anything yet. But now, here's the people, not snubbed him, dogged him. Say, you're not worth it. You can't play for us. You suck. Get out of here.
Yeah.
So that's more than a snub. That's like, get your ass out of here, pal. So I think Jared Goff, yes, we talk about St. Brown and his chip. Jared Goff should have a huge ass chip. And if I'm him, so I'm a little bit of a jerk. If I win this game, I'm walking off the field looking at McVay like, what's up, bro? So
should have stuck with me.
Stuck with me.
No, you didn't have to stick to me, but don't treat me like a dog.
Good point.
Understand? In pro sports, we always move on from everybody.
Because it's a business.
New England moved on from Tom Brady.
Poor business decision.
Right.
Tough one for Bill Belichick. Sean McVay has had success since Jared Goff with Matthew Stafford, but you're right, they dogged him. He was a throw into them. He was a strategic acquisition from Brad Holmes. Another reason Brad Holmes wants to prove to Les Snead, who's done a great job. By the way, that Rams rebuild, they're a legitimate team. They overachieved this year, but to get back to where they are now after the contract situation they have with Stafford as a quarterback, his contract, it was difficult. They did a good job this year.
We're going to see it all play out on Sunday, and you can kick off your game day with us right here. We'll be right in the seats, 8 a.m. Sunday morning. Lions game day, Lions playoff game day. We will be here so that you start your game day the right way. Until then, thank you for tuning in this morning. I'm Gabrielle Dee Phillips, Matt Broder, Terry Foster. We are Woodward and Main Street. Have a great Tuesday.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.